somebody else say,
Yeah.
what's he asking for?
Exactly.
It's
Well,
raining.
unfortunately, Parasol in Virginia, though, that's the only thing that wouldn't help you much right now.
I bet you in England maybe they still use that maybe more, right?
That phrase.
Yeah, I
Who
would
knows?
think. I
Who
don't know.
knows? I mean, they changed to Happy Christmas.
I mean, the only time I ever see I'm saying, but the only time I used to hear the word parasol is when you watch like an old English movie, right? In the old times, they used that,
it's true.
right?
It's true. But anyway, so as you can tell, I'm on with Xavier. We're gonna be joined shortly in the show. We've got a trifecta of great
absolutely.
guests that are going to
Great
be
guests
coming on today. We're going to be joined shortly in the show by Miguel Torradin and Carolina Medina from Tradech Sirius Insurance are going to be coming on. A fantastic husband-wife duo team.
Absolutely. I don't know how they do it. I was talking to them before. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how Carolina does it, really. That's
Yeah, my mother's probably thinking the same thing. She's like, I can't imagine working with Xavier. And then we're going to be joined, we're excited to have later in the show, Elise Miller, mezzo-soprano, and Adam Rogers, baritone, from the Ader Emerging Artist Program here at Charlottesville Opera are going to be coming on, so we're really excited to talk to them. I'll learn a little bit about the program, and they were both in The Music Man, which was fantastic, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Elixir of Love coming up this weekend. Tomorrow and
night.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And then last but certainly not least, we love our monthly meetups with Matthias from Matthias Young Realty. He's going to be coming on. We'll talk some Charlottesville summer. We'll talk what he's seeing in the markets. We'll just pick his brain.
Absolutely.
And enjoy his company, which is what we love here on Today y Mañana. So it's a fantastic show lined up for us. Be sure to, Xavier can tell you what to do.
Subscribe to... Like, share.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I got that backwards, but that's okay.
He's done. That's all right, as long as it all comes out, right? So we are excited for that, and we look forward to hearing any questions, comments you may have. Feel free to tell us how much you love our guests, how much you have loved the performances that we've seen. I know in the off, not live yet, but in the preview post, we had definitely a number of people telling us how much they loved both the Music Man and the festival this past 2 weeks, week and a half ago. Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, the festival, yeah.
The festival.
Exactly,
so that's going to be fantastic, and I know this weekend will be just as fun.
Things. I don't even know how they even were able to stand up there and perform.
I don't know, but I appreciated it because it was fantastic.
Yeah. It's wonderful when you can listen to that. I mean, let's face it. I mean, that was free, and you sit there and you can listen to this kind of talent. I mean, that's rare.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
that's a blessing to be able to do something.
It really is. It was amazing, and really the performances were just incredible.
Yeah.
You had opera highlights, you had musical highlights. There were some orchestral interludes. Michael Sloan did a great job.
Yeah, I remember he telling us just before he's drinking lots and lots of water.
Oh yeah, poor guy.
Yeah,
yep.
I need to gulp this down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good.
But it was a great performance, and we'll touch on a lot of music today. We'll touch on some insurance. We'll touch on some real estate. We'll touch on Charlottesville.
Oh yeah, everything. Wow, this is great, fantastic.
So it'll be a great show.
It's amazing the topics that we can cover on this show.
That's the beauty of it. We love it.
Oh, it'll be good. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So grab your. I mean, today may be an iced café con leche. I know
it's been hot. It's just been hot. Yeah.
I'm a café con leche purist, but
just grab your glass of water these days.
Yeah, that's enough sometimes. Yeah. I hear me do the same. I should probably do the same before the camera comes on.
I tell you, yesterday. I think it was around 6 o'clock. There's thunder, and I'm saying, oh, good. I'm going to get rain. Because I want some rain for our flowers and everything, right? Nothing, not even a drop. I'm saying all that noise, all that warning, and not one little drop. And I got to touch my dirt because I know Jim, my wife, said, "Yeah, it rained." And I'm going, "It's like, yeah, like where?" Because everything is so dry.
Yeah, it rained on me. I was walking out my car. Sun was out, beautiful, dumped on by rain. And then 30 minutes later, it's cloudy, it's ominous, it's dark. I hear the thunder, no rain.
No rain.
I said, that's from Charlottesville. That is the American South in summer.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a very dry year. I mean, very, very dry year. And it's I think that we've cut the grass once, Michael and I, since we got all that rain in May or something. It's you know. I mean,
And
in that point, I don't think he minds, but everything else is like, it's just dying.
Exactly. Now, at first I was a little depressed. I was like, this new homeowner, like my grass is looking terrible. I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. I'm a lousy homeowner. My grass is dying. It's like coming apart at the seams.
It's like,
and then I looked at
oh,
all the
this is
neighbors-
Alex. Let's
Yeah.
just go ahead and give him a hard time.
Well, and then I looked at all my neighbors' grass. I'm like, okay, I feel better. I had to change. It's not just me. It's not. It's
Everybody's
the
grass
weather.
is brown.
It's the weather. It's the summer in Charlottesville. It's not that I'm a terrible
Although, it's,
homeowner who
like I
kills
said, it's kind
grass.
of rare because we always pretty much get some thunderstorms here and there that keep everything growing. But it's been unbelievable.
But I think I saw it's drought because in the Shenandoah National Park has been telling people, I think they've like closed fishing, attempting to fish on some of the streams because they
Yeah.
are too dry. They are just not getting the energy that they need.
Exactly.
The water
Wow.
coming down. So the streams aren't running. So they've closed a couple of them. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us on a beautiful morning here in Charlottesville, Virginia. It may be hot, but it is
Beautiful,
pretty.
yeah.
The sun is out. The leaves are in full green. Bloom
or
is
brown.
Exactly. Yeah, as long as you're in air conditioning,
That's right. Yeah, well,
it's a beautiful day. It's a comfortable day. So just enjoy the AC and look out your window and enjoy the beauty around you. So that's a perfect day for that, and it's a perfect day for some Today y Mañana.
well, yes.
You know,
And
because
we
we're
got,
gonna
we got
be-
a full show today.
Exactly. We're going to be joined shortly in the show by
We're
Miguel
going to do one of
Corradin.
those FedEx, where the guy speaks so fast. Remember that
FedEx thing
commercial?
where the guy
I
speaks
think
so
it was
fast?
FedEx. You don't remember? There
No.
was a FedEx commercial where the guy spoke like 1,000,000 miles a minute. It's just going to like that.
Well, we'll try to be a little better than that.
Okay.
You know, we want
You
the
can't be
guests-
better than that guy.
We want
That
people to
guy
hear
was
the
unbelievable.
guests.
No, you can
I'll be
understand everything he
slower
said.
than that. I'll be
Okay.
slower than that. Because we're going to be joined shortly in the show by our great friends Miguel Corradin and Carolina Medina from Credit Serious Insurance. And then later on in the show, we'll welcome Elise Miller, mezzo-soprano, and Adam Rogers, baritone from the ADER Emerging Artists Program right here at Charlottesville Opera. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to be joined for our monthly meetup with Matthias. Matthias Yohn from Matthias Yohn Realty is going to be coming on. So
I'm
we have a
looking forward to
great
all
show.
three.
Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. Glad to be on with you. I think.
Thank you.
Were you and I
Well,
on
last
with,
week it was 4th of July.
last week
so
was 4th of
and then
July.
the week before that, I
and
can't
then
remember.
I think it
That's
was,
too
no, I
far.
think Michael was on with
That's
me
right,
because we
Michael's
had
on.
on Michael Slan.
That's
And,
correct. That's
yeah,
right.
absolutely. So, and Bridget Eversole from the opera.
Right.
So that was, we had the double Michaels that day. So it's been a little bit since it was you and I, but I always look forward to it.
Same here.
It's always enjoyable. So, of course, love being here on the I Love CVille Network set, presented by Emergent Financial Services and powered by our good friends at Credit Serious Insurance, Matthias Yohn Realty, Charlottesville, Opera Forward Adelante. Thanks everyone for who's already starting to tune in. We've already got some people loving the posts, loving everything that we have in store today. So that's for sure. Elizabeth Irby liked in the show today. Nicholas Irby liked in the show. He went to the premiere. It was like
The
for
dress
him the
rehearsal,
preview.
the-
it was like
yeah,
the dress
preview, yeah,
rehearsal
yeah.
for the Elixir
For the-
of Love
for the
this
opera,
weekend,
yeah.
and he loved it.
He loved it, yeah.
He
loves all
really,
that anyway. Yeah, I mean,
he couldn't say enough
he absorbs all that.
enough good things about it. So that was fantastic. I know he
Which is
really
coming
enjoyed
up
that.
tomorrow night.
coming
and then Sunday, you said?
Absolutely. So it's going to be tomorrow, the 12th of July at 7:30 p.m.
Okay.
and then Sunday, July 14th at 2 p.m.
Okay.
is going to be the Elixir of Love. You can still get tickets at charlottesvilleopera.org or theparamount.net.
That's a great name, right, for an opera. Elixir of Love.
Yep.
Most of them are. a little different. Most
Yeah,
of the time.
exactly.
This one, most people should really enjoy.
It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's not difficult to follow. It's in Italian, so I think for first introduction that kind of helps. Nothing against.
Absolutely, yes.
I will say nothing against other operatic languages, but let's just say some
Well,
of
there's
them are a
nothing like the
little more,
Italian language.
Yeah,
I mean,
having
when it comes
heard
to a
them
smooth,
all
soft, yes.
on the range of flowery to rather formal, Italian is definitely
Ring-like?
on the flowery side. Well, I heard a Russian one once.
Oh, did you? Which one?
Boris Godunov.
Oh,
By Mussorgsky
yes,
in Russian.
yes.
It is a serious language. You don't feel very lighthearted when you're listening to. It was also a serious opera, but that's for sure. That's for sure. Wanda Tucera Epstein says, looking forward to seeing the production. You will not be disappointed. So,
Absolutely not.
Well, I say it's a
We have
great
to.
show.
We've
I'm
got-
excited
we
to
got
jump
so
right
many
in.
guests. We got to give them all the time we can get.
Absolutely. So we are excited to welcome to the show this morning Miguel Torrin and Carolina Medina from Credit Sirius Insurance. Miguel, Carolina, thank you both so much for being on with us this morning.
Buenos días.
Thank you. Buenos días.
Buenos días, buongiorno, como siempre.
Buongiorno.
Thank you, Javier and Alex for having us here. It's always, great to see you here in the show.
Same here.
Same here,
It's
absolutely.
always
Always a delight.
It's always a pleasure. So, Xavier, I know we've one of the things we wanted to talk about is I think it's come up is, and Xavier will we'll try to do English and Spanish on this, is just the market we've been seeing because I especially I think if people are reading news articles and stuff, they'll be like, oh, it's a hard market. It's a hard market. So I know Xavier has a kind of question on that.
Sí, y voy a hacer la pregunta a Carolina y Miguel también puede responder sin duda, pero dicen que la marca,
El mercado, claro.
el mercado de seguros es duro. Ahora, no sé si se puede traducir hard market a un mercado duro, ¿no?
Un mercado
quizás,
difícil.
primeramente, quizás puede
Difícil.
explicar estoy seguro que hay gente que no entiende lo que quiere decir hard market y quizás puede explicar lo que quiere decir y qué es lo que está pasando con los seguros estos días.
Claro. Bueno, lo voy a decir en español y Miguel pues me ayuda el resto. Pero bueno, gracias primero de estar aquí.
No,
Siempre es un placer, chicos, verlo.
Igualmente.
Y compartir aquí en el programa. Sí, o sea, hard market pues lo decimos como un mercado un poco difícil porque como podrán ver pues muchos... como agentes hemos recibido muchas llamadas de nuestros clientes que los seguros o aseguranzas han incrementado. Siempre les digo, ustedes no son los únicos, a todos nos está pasando, lamentándolo mucho, y eso se debe lógicamente a varios factores que está pasando hoy en día en el mercado. Uno de esos pues lógicamente no es mentira para nadie, estamos viviendo una inflación, el país está viviendo una inflación,
Claro, sí,
como
sí.
ves todo ha subido, la renta, la comida, los precios de las casas, los carros, y las compañías de seguro lógicamente pues no es una excepción. Y mucha gente me dice, pero yo qué culpa tengo. Pues bueno, hay muchos factores que hay que tomar en cuenta, lógicamente eso. El precio incluso de los gastos médicos ha influido tanto, ha incrementado tanto, que a la hora de hacer un reclamo, lógicamente no va a ser el mismo costo. La persona, por ejemplo, si resulta lesionada, la tercera persona involucrada en el accidente, resulta lesionada, lógicamente los gastos médicos van a ser más altos. Por ende, las compañías de seguro también incrementan sus precios a la hora de la liability, o sencilla o regular, que le llaman mucho. Hemos leído hace poco, desde la pandemia, hablando de 2 años para acá, el incremento de accidentes ha subido increíble,
Sí.
bastante. Pues ya la gente, yo creo que después de haber estado en casa tanto tiempo,
Todo el mundo haciendo al mismo tiempo.
Sí, entonces lógicamente ha sido diferente la forma del manejo. No sabemos por qué, pero los accidentes han subido muchísimo. Entonces, por ende, pues también han tenido que ajustar precios por eso, los precios de los carros. A la hora de hacer un reclamo, las reparaciones de las piezas de los vehículos no es la misma. Ha incrementado muchísimo. También muchas cosas, pues la gente ha tenido ahorita mucho, y Miguel, corrígeme en esto, accidentes, en el speeding tickets, también, ticket de velocidad.
Multas de velocidad.
Gente que maneja bajo la influencia un poco del alcohol. A veces dice, una cervecita o 2 no es mucho, digo, pero es suficiente para que un policía te pare y te ponga un DUI.
Claro, ese es el
Entonces,
problema.
siempre llamen, por favor, un Uber, no manejen así. y eso influye mucho también. Y no sé qué otro factor te acuerdas.
Bueno, yo hablando de lo que es el mercado difícil ahorita en esta etapa, como que quería comentarle a las personas que nos están escuchando, es que lo que tienen que entender es que esto es un mercado que en promedio toma 3 años. Esto es como cuando vienen situaciones buenas o malas en la ¿cómo se llama? Donde está el exchange, ¿no?
Sí, por ejemplo, en la bolsa.
La bolsa de valores y el
sí,
mercado,
la
todo eso.
economía, sí.
Entonces es como un roller coaster, ¿no? Es como una montaña rusa. Pero ahorita estamos en el mercado difícil, ¿no? Por todas las razones que acaba de explicar Carolina, entre otras también. Ahora, ¿qué esperar de todo esto, verdad? Porque esa es la gran pregunta. Bueno, ¿y hasta cuándo va a pasar esto? Entonces, si tenemos en cuenta que en promedio, históricamente, dura 3 años el hard market, el mercado difícil de seguro, yo pienso que esta vez va a durar más de 3 años, porque el hard market, esto comenzó en el 2020 y ya vamos para el 2025. Según los expertos, pero esto no es nada seguro, yo no puedo certificar esto, dicen que a mediados o finales del 2025 las cosas en el mercado se pueden estabilizar. ¿Okay? Se pueden mejorar los precios y no va a haber muchos más, digamos, incrementos en la tasa de la prima, ¿no? De las personas, pero eso va a depender de muchos factores,
Sí.
porque así como todo ha incrementado en el seguro de los carros, también ha pasado en el seguro de las casas. Una de las formas más, digamos, fáciles de explicar en la parte del seguro de las casas es que, yo no sé si usted se han dado cuenta en la noticia, pero cada día hay más tornados, cada día hay más huracanes y son más fuertes y causan muchos más daños, mucho más que en promedio. Y eso en teoría puede bajar, pero si seguimos teniendo todas estas tormentas de huracanes, tornados, incendios, esto no va a hacer que las casas de los precios de los seguros bajen, esto va a ser más lo contrario, que sigan subiendo. Y entonces, lamentablemente estamos ahorita en este proceso y esperamos salir de ahí aproximadamente a mediados del 2025.
Y tienen un impacto también los precios de las casas en el mercado de
Oh, correcto,
Sí,
correcto.
sí.
Sí, porque las casas también se están evaluando.
Sí.
No solamente eso. Si usted compra una casa, por ejemplo, de $250,000 hoy, ¿verdad? Un año después, como vamos con la inflación, esa casa que usted compró no va a costar $250,000. En el peor de los casos, si se incendia, la pierde. Va a costar probablemente un 20% más. 15 a 20% más. Entonces, todo va
sube.
subiendo. Y eso estoy hablando de un año.
Claro.
Se puede incrementar a medida que van pasando los años, ¿no? Entonces,
la
lo que
mitad.
aprovecho a decir que es importante que cuando tengan una póliza de seguro de casa tengan lo que se llama el replacement cost, ¿ok? Porque el replacement cost es como un seguro antiinflación. Es garantizado. Si usted no lo tiene, se arriesga que si en 10 años después su casa se incendia y la pierde y su casa cuesta $250,000, por ejemplo, puede ser que su casa de aquí a allá 10 años cueste $100,000 más reconstruirla y el seguro no va a alcanzar a cubrir todo eso.
Sí.
Pero cuando usted tiene esa cláusula de replacement cost garantizado, no importa cuánto cueste su casa, el seguro va a cubrir lo que cueste reconstruir su casa. Es muy importante, ¿no? Por eso hablar con expertos de seguros independientes que le expliquen todo eso, porque son muchos detalles, muchas cosas que si bien usted no lo sabe, para eso estamos los agentes personales que
Sí.
podemos guiarlos, ¿no? Y asesorarlos profesionalmente.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I like to just summarize what he said in English just a little bit, which makes, it makes total sense. Sometimes you sit there and go, why is my insurance going up? But when, now that they've explained it, makes a lot of sense, right? So basically, you take out whether it be a home insurance or a car insurance, right? And think about it. Cars now are worth a lot more than they were, 5 years ago, right? So basically what Miguel and Carolina are saying is that the hard market means that prices of insurance have gone up, and they've gone up since 2020, and typically it's about a 3-year cycle, and now we're going to maybe a 5-year cycle. But as we all know, inflation has been a large reason for that. If your car used to be, cost $30,000 and now costs $50,000, the insurance company, when you get into an accident, no longer has to pay for a $30,000 car, but a $50,000 car, so the parts are more expensive. Medical costs have gone up, so if you get into an accident, then the medical costs go up. I think Carolina mentioned that, since the pandemic, accidents are up, whether it be people driving under the influence, whether people are driving, speed. I guess the people are breaking the speed limit more often than not before. So all this forces the insurance companies to raise those rates. And like we mentioned also with regard to houses, you build a house or you buy a house, it's worth $250,000. If you get an insurance policy for $250,000, and all of a sudden 3 years later your house burns down, or there's been more tornadoes, more hurricanes, so something happens, you're only getting $250,000. So what Miguel is recommending is you get the replacement cost, and of course you get a replacement cost, it's going to cost $300, $350 to the insurance company. Guess what? Insurance rates are going up. So it's a function of, we are living in an inflationary environment. After the pandemic, I guess everybody said, I'm going out, I'm having fun, I'm living life, more cars on the road, more people out there. Yeah. So, all this is an influence too, and that's what hard market means, basically, that the insurance companies have had to raise their prices because of what's been going on.
Absolutely. Ricardo Cruz Duran watching the show, amigo del programa, he says, Miguel and Carolina, love to see y'all. And then he says, que buena explicación. A mí le pasó también. So he's seeing it himself, our good friend Miguel with Total Mortgage. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in addition to that, and thank you, Ricardo, good to see you always. In addition to what Javier just said, have you noticed that the new vehicles, people don't realize how much money the new vehicles cost. Like even 10 years ago, no vehicle had cameras. Now, every single vehicle from 2022 up, they got at least 2 or 3 cameras.
Sensors, cameras.
Yep. This costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not now a bumper sticker thing that is going to cost you $500. No, maybe one of these 2 cameras is going to cost you $1,000 each. Just the cameras only, And these are the things. Cars are actually being built better with better technology, but unfortunately it costs more. It costs more, and that's just one thing. Another thing that are happening is the revolution of electric vehicles. Some insurance are not even taking Teslas when they are used because it will cost a lot of money to
repair
it's just something that insurance don't even.
It's an unknown, right?
It's an unknown, and it costs a lot of. You know how much a Tesla can cost? Easily $80,000, and we're not talking about a Ferrari here, which is an electric car, So insurance they're getting caught off guard on all these expenses, and they're having to readjust 2 or 3 times a year. To make sure they have the money to pay for these higher costs and expenses that they will have. That's another factor that people,
That's a big one.
Well, and just we run that with our financial plans, right? When people say I'd like to buy a car probably in 3 to 4 years, when I put in what the expectation is, they say, "Oh no, we wouldn't buy that kind of car." I say, "What kind of car do you have now?" And I said, "Well, that's what the cost is today." So imagine in a few years from now.
Yeah.
And they say, "Wow,
Exactly. They don't realize that the new car they bought 6 years ago.
6 years ago, yes.
If they were to buy a new version of that today, it's not a $25,000 car. It's an almost a $50,000 car now. It's the same car.
Yeah.
But that's where prices have gone. And Miguel touched on it. The importance also then of working with a professional agent to really help you navigate, because it's not as easy to just navigate this type of market anymore. And you guys, I know, not only are there 2 of you, but you're growing the team.
Yes, we're growing the team. We have a new member of the team. Her name is Vanessa. Planning to bring her in the show next time.
Nice.
She's bilingual, and she will definitely, we love her so much that she's taking great care of all our customers, especially the ones that speak Spanish, which we have a lot of them. And,
sure, that's wonderful.
Sí. Para decirlo un poco en español también, tenemos a una nueva representante, Vanessa, excelente, persona de servicio al cliente, las va a ayudar con todas las preguntas que tengan también que tengan con respecto a auto, casa, comercial, y bueno, estamos muy contentos con ellas. Igual estamos abiertos también a aprovechar la oportunidad de que pues estamos abiertos a la posibilidad de otra persona bilingüe, inglés-español en la oficina. Si están interesados, pueden mandarnos a tu email o Miguel, el Miguel Coratine.
Miguel Craddock at Sirius, at craddocksirius.com.
Yeah.
Just like Carolina said, we are actively looking for a bilingual professional, agent, and we'll love. If you have any questions, any interest, please give us a call.
Yeah.
We're happy to have an interview.
What's that email again?
Yeah, my email
You're
is.
not switching jobs.
I'm bilingual.
You know.
No, it's been a pleasure. What's the best way for people to also get in touch with you both?
Well, the best way, now they can just call us at 434-817-7555, 1 for English, 2 for Spanish. But you can also, we have our social media in Instagram. We also have in Facebook. We also, do WhatsApp application. A lot of our Latino customers,
Yes.
they do that. It's easy, you don't have to call. They just send us a voicemail or a text message, things like that are very, quickly, and then we can just right away, get on it.
Así que hay muchas maneras de ponerse en contacto con ustedes dos.
Sí,
Absolutamente.
Eso es importante.
Sí,
Yeah.
sí.
And in fact, I was going to have a different question, but we have an audience question. Ricardo asks, para la posición,
Sí.
¿tiene que ser con experiencia o sin experiencias? ¿Qué necesitan para aplicar?
Bueno, en este caso nos gustaría que tuviera experiencia, si no, igual estamos abiertos a la posibilidad, no hay
ok.
problema. Sí nos importa bastante el hecho de que sea bilingüe y porque pues puede manejar nuestros clientes tanto en inglés como en español. Y para aplicar, como dice Miguel, puede mandarlos al email miguel@craddocksirius.com, o también en caso de que no puedan tomar nota rapidito, nos pueden llamar al 434-817-7555 y con mucho gusto le brindamos más la información un poco más personal. Pero gracias,
Correcto.
Ricardo.
Perfecto.
She says that so quickly.
I know.
Especially the numbers. She just
so
threw them
beautiful.
out like
So
that.
beautifully. It's like, so that's where one day I want my Spanish to be. It's like,
Me too.
I know. Both of us. Well, Miguel, Carolina, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
both.
on.
Thank you so much.
Excited
for
to have
having
you
us.
back. I know we've got some other topics for next time you come on.
It's
that we
okay.
can
It's
definitely
okay.
cover.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Pleasure having you. Being here with you, and thank you again.
Thanks so much.
One more thing, lo bueno también en este caso, porque siempre me gusta terminar con lo positivo,
Oh, sí.
es que pues la diferencia es que trabajamos con diferentes compañías de seguro, así que no todo
sí.
es negativo, así que podemos, como dicen, shopping around for you, buscar opciones y con mucho gusto podemos ver qué mejores opciones podemos conseguir de acuerdo a cómo está en el mercado.
That's the
Muy
key
bien.
thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
they
important.
have
Because-
access. They're independent, so they have access to a lot of different
Exactly,
insurance
exactly,
options. So you
yeah.
can kind of shop around, compare prices.
Something that fits you best. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're always happy to help. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Thank you both so much. Can't wait
Thank
to
you
see
so
you next
much,
time.
guys. Nice to see you both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. It says we rotate here.
Qué buen esposo, dijo excellent. ¿eh?
I know.
No
Excellent.
bueno,
I know.
not good,
Excelente.
excellent.
No, I always learn so much. Yeah, I mean, like Ricardo said, just such a great explanation and analysis of like,
Yeah.
okay, how do we get where we are? What are we looking at? What are the options?
Exactly. Yeah, that's important. That's important. Yeah.
You know, so
these are difficult times for a lot of people, and so it's good to have those kind of options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So from one pair of great guests
To another. Yeah.
we are super excited to welcome to the show this morning Elise Miller, mezzo-soprano, and Adam Rogers, baritone from the ADER Emerging Artists Program right here at Charlottesville Opera. Elise, Adam, thanks so much for joining us this
Good
morning.
morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, we've been looking forward to it. You know,
I can already hear the music coming out of them.
Ah,
That's great.
I can tell what's on your mind. So maybe to start off for those, I mean, we especially because I think some of our audience has seen you both on stage, particularly recently, but maybe for those who haven't met you yet, tell us a little bit about yourselves and kind of what led you to opera.
Well, I'm from Texas, and I was a choir kid. Choir is pretty big in Texas. And so that's sort of where I got my start. I started taking voice lessons in high school. I previously took piano for a long time and ended up going into college for music, and I didn't really know much about opera when I got to college, but I was studying classically, so I learned through that experience, and then I ended up going to get a master's at Indiana University, where I currently go. And that's a very big opera school, and I have a lot of background in musical theater as well. I think many high schoolers sort of start off in other genres, but I found it through voice lessons, through classical training, and just through experiences at school of doing operas and doing summer programs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm originally from Georgia, and like Elise, I started in choir. That's where I fell in love with music, and then I decided I wanted to teach. But even though I taught choir for about 3 years, during that entire period, I knew I wanted to perform, and so I did some summer programs and kind of found my way into some professional performing opportunities, and my love for opera has just kind of grown from that point.
So I'm just curious. So at what point, because I mean, sometimes, like, as a little kid, I sang, right? But, obviously, if you heard me sing now, you realize why I just I never went into anything. But at what point did somebody tell you, wow, you got a great voice, you could, or was it a voice that developed over time, or is it something where somebody said, wow, you've got the voice to do this?
Well, I guess, I can tell you the first time I knew I had a good voice, which was in middle school choir, when we were doing an arrangement of Mac the Knife for middle schoolers. It was a Kurt Weill song, and arranging for middle school choir is not easy, so we were doing an arrangement, and there was a solo, and I was like, I told my mom, I said, I'm going to audition for the solo, and she's like, okay, whatever. And then I ended up getting the solo. So I know it's like a really weird story, but I really just didn't know I was a good singer. I was really more into piano at that time until my middle school choir director gave me a solo, and then from there I just kept staying in choir. And then when I started taking voice lessons more seriously, I think that's when I was really encouraged to apply to music school. Yeah.
My mother always tells me the story of how she prayed when she was pregnant with me, and prayed that I would play piano and sing. And so when I was young, I would go to the piano and just start singing, and then growing up in church would sing all the time, and that's kind of where it started. I don't necessarily know if I remember anyone telling me I sounded good. I just remember singing until people acknowledged, oh, he's not going to stop. So, and then somewhere along the way, like you mentioned, the skill came in, like Elise and I have gone through school and done, considerable amount of training. So of course there's been some polish over the years, but I think initially it was just that raw passion and that desire to do it. And then things kind of lined up eventually.
Absolutely. So what led you both to the ADER Emerging Artist Program here, and kind of what's been your experience of it?
Do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah, I'll go first this time. I did a program last year in North Carolina called Brevard, and very great program. And so I met the artistic director, Dr. Wara, there, and she's just such a sweet person. I mean, what a presence, she has, and a beautiful voice, beautiful spirit, beautiful heart. And so I really wanted to audition for her and Leanne, Dr. Clement, and I did, and I got here, and it's been such a great experience. I think Charlottesville has a beautiful merging of city life, country life, and so you get a nice middle ground, city town, I guess I would call it, and it's been great to meet everyone, to sing at the various places, to even be here with you guys, and
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, all of this has been quite beautiful and special, and I've enjoyed it.
That's fantastic. How about yourself, Elise?
Well, I knew that Charlottesville Opera existed, and I knew that they had a program, and so I had never really applied before. It wasn't until last year that I was really applying for young artist programs in a serious way. So I saw the posting on Yap Tracker, which is like a website for if you're in classical music. Everyone knows that website. It's called Young Artist Program Tracker, Yap Tracker. So I just applied through there. I didn't know Caroline or Leanne prior to applying, but I had a really great audition experience with them. I actually auditioned on Zoom, really late at night.
You, that's gotta be-
And I also loved this season. I love Elixir and I love The Music Man. So I just there wasn't really like anything specific I was going for in the audition. So I just sang kind of what I liked to sing, and we just had a good rapport, and I just think that they liked me, and I was really excited because I also have some friends that have done the program, and everyone has nothing but great things to say. So it's been a real pleasure being here.
So when you auditioned on Zoom, was it any of the songs from those two, or something that you just knew well?
Something I just knew well.
Okay,
I didn't
yeah.
really think there was something specific for me in this season other than just smaller roles and things.
Right.
So I sang one of my arias, and I sang a Golden Age song, and they just really liked it. And it's been
That's
great.
impressive. I mean, because
Yeah.
I am not a Zoom fan because, as you can tell,
Yeah.
I use my hands and everything, and on Zoom people
whack
say,
the computer.
what's
Where's
wrong with
his
his
hand?
hands?
Yeah,
Where are they
there you
going? But that's outrageous. That's great.
That's fantastic. And yeah, and I mean, speaking of the roles, 'cause I mean, you both had, at least for me, memorable roles in The Music Man, because at least you played Mrs. Peru.
I did.
And that was beautiful to watch. And then Adam, you played Charlie Towell,
Yes.
which I had lost. I was telling Adam before, and I had lost track of his name, like in the story. I just knew
Yeah.
it was Charlie, and I just kept telling my wife, that guy, the guy who keeps saying he doesn't know the territory is so good. I love the fact that he's so good, especially with that opening scene.
Yeah,
where
Rock
there's-
Island.
Yeah, where there really
Yeah.
isn't much accompaniment.
Right.
You guys are kind of just out there doing it with just voices.
Yeah.
So what was just out of curiosity, what was the experience like to like have that musical theater and have roles in the Music Man?
Oh man, Charlie is such a hilarious, just boisterous character. Charlie says what's on his mind.
Yep.
Which is so funny because I have that silly, goofy side, but I'm usually very careful, very calculated person with my words. Charlie's not. So Charlie just comes out and tell us how it is. And,
Exactly.
so that was so fun to dive into that. And musical theater, which is so devoted to the text. We as opera singers are too, but I think musical theater is, I would say, I don't know how Elise feels, but I feel like MT is a little more text forward than opera is, and I feel like sometimes opera is a bit more voice forward. And so with musical theater, it's like we really want that text. You may not sing, super well, and we want you to sing well, but that text, and so it really took me back to my roots of like selling the story, being devoted to the text, really communicating, which I think helped me to convey Elixir, well,
Yes.
and helps just everything else because you're really committed to telling the story the best you can. So it was so fun.
How about you, Elise?
Yeah, I agree. I think that in musical theater, there's really, in opera, sometimes you can sort of, I don't want to say hide, but there's just more things like, there's just all this beautiful music going on, and you can really like use your voice in a different way versus when you're doing musical theater and you have dialogue, you really have to, your delivery and the way that you say it is really important. And so I totally agree with you. There's nowhere to hide. You have to really hone your acting skills and use a different just part of your brain, I think, in a way. And I love doing that. I've done other musicals. I had never had to do an Irish accent, so that was
Pretty impressive, I have to say.
well, thank you. I wouldn't have called it authentic, but I did my best. I watched a lot of Dairy Girls and other Irish TV shows and movies, and just tried to learn it orally, I guess. But yeah, I love musical theater. I think that it definitely informs other opera experiences that I have because it's a great way to work on acting, but coming at it from kind of a different angle because you do have to speak and you don't just get to sing everything. So that's
Well, and I think it helps dispel, because I think one of the things growing up, stereotype was always, you would always hear opera singers, they're terrible actors, like they're lousy.
Yeah.
But you really don't, like, because I think of what you learn in musical theater, I mean, every time I've done Charleston Opera, I'm like, no, they're doing that. They're doing a good job. The delivery's good and so forth. Because I think, obviously it's great to have that mixing of talents, and then also it's great, I think, to experience operatic voices in musical theater, because especially if like your last time seeing it, like I remember I had never seen the Music Man before, but I had seen Guys and Dolls before last year's performance, and I mean, if your only experience in Guys and Dolls as mine was Marlon Brando trying to sing, it's not a great, it's like, oh man, I guess they don't really sing well in musical theater, and then you actually go to music theater with beautiful voices, and you're like, so this is what it should sound like with a beautiful voice singing these parts.
Yeah. What I was going to say, that's a great distinction. I never actually heard that, but that makes total sense, right? That in musical theater, obviously, it's the words that really count because it's a story, right?
Yes.
And not that in opera, there's a story too, but you can always hear, and I grew up with opera because my mother was involved in opera, so I listened to a lot of opera, but you could always, and I'm not going to say mumble, but the music that comes out, their voice is so much more important than the enunciation of the words, whether it be in Italian or German, whatever, that they can, like you mentioned, they can probably just mumble a little bit, but that voice comes out first, right? But in musical theater, if you're mumbling the words, it's like, well, what's he saying? What's going on?
I'm supposed to understand
it's
this.
interesting, it's interesting you said that, and it never occurred to me, but that's so true,
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you guys, so singing without any music, how difficult is that?
When you say music, do you mean microphone? Like
so no, let's say you have
or?
to, like there's, like in other words, you just have to sing, but there's no music playing.
There's no accompaniment, you mean?
No accompaniment, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
To me, that's music. Yeah, how difficult is that?
Are you referring specifically to Rock Island, maybe, or just period? How difficult is it? Period,
Yeah, just period. Yeah.
Well, I think being such a choir person, even though in this format I'm an opera singer, musical theater, but to my core I'm definitely a teacher and a choir teacher, and what I always taught my students is audiation, so hearing the pitch before you sing it and then having a tonal center, and if you practice it enough it becomes sort of like muscle memory, and so you don't deviate from the track, if you will, right? So let's say the train is staying in the center of the pitch. We don't leave the track. And what reinforces that is the technique. And so maybe the nuts and the bolts of the track would be breathing and pacing and tongue position and laryngeal, position and things like that. And so I think technique really helps us stay in tune. And so, yeah, I think a cappella can be difficult if you don't have the proper tools and technique in place. But, what do you think, Elise?
I agree with you. I haven't sang a cappella stuff in a while, but when I was in choir, we did that a lot. And again, Texas, big choir place, and we did all types of audiation type things. And I think, if you can't hear it in your head, you can't really put it out there. But that's a skill that you can really train, in young singers, is to hear it and then produce, hear it in their head and then produce it. And again, with training too, breathing, reinforcing intonation and things like that, for sure. I'm in agreement with you, Adam. In agreement.
And so on that vein, so you both now, obviously, Music Man was musical theater, and now Elixir coming up this weekend is back to opera.
Yeah.
What, for you both, what are you looking forward to? What can people look forward to this weekend?
I would say that one thing that people can look forward to is the very colorful costumes. Our director is calling it sort of the Epcot version of Elixir. All of the women have very just bold colors, and we kind of mine is very Belle, and some other people have different sort of Disney character vibes to their costumes. And also there's some very cool projections and artwork that you'll see during the show that is just, it's really neat. So it's animations and projections and things. That's very fun. Adam?
I think it's such an immersive experience, and even at times in the show, I think the audience will witness the fourth wall being violated, right? So you won't feel necessarily that you're looking in. You'll feel like you're a part of the action in the village, on the farm, so to speak. And so I think it's going to be quite exciting.
Absolutely. No, people can look forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm very excited about it myself. I'm going tomorrow night, so it should be fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before I let you both go, where can people follow you both, learn more about where you'll be next, and where your journeys take you?
My handle on Instagram and website is Elise Miller Voice, so you can find me there. Instagram or www.elisemillervoice.com.
Perfect. And how about you, Adam?
Adam Rogers. So Adam Rogers on Facebook, Adam Rogers on Instagram.
Super easy.
The website www.adamjrogers. Oh, mixed it up.
Oh,
Little
there you go.
spice for you.
There's a twist.
Whoa, watch out. Yeah, Adam J. Rogers. But the website is on my Facebook and Instagram. So if anyone wants to follow or keep up, you can find it there.
Fantastic. It's been
Wonderful.
such a pleasure.
Absolutely. It's been-
Nicholas Erpe says he didn't know Elise wasn't Irish.
Oh, yeah, I know.
was really good.
This is my real speaking voice. This is my
Like,
real accent.
going to the show today, he said, wait, she's not Irish.
Is that Irish?
I am not. I mean, maybe somewhere in there, but like not recently.
Well, you did a great job, obviously.
Absolutely. Well, this has been such a pleasure getting to
thank
meet you
you.
both.
Absolutely.
You did such a wonderful job, and also I went to the festival where I know each of you had some solo singing for, and it was so beautiful, and I know when we appreciate it in that heat.
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
So
It was hot.
It was.
We did it.
So we just admired all of you doing such a wonderful job, and we appreciate you coming on today.
Oh,
Yes, thank you
Thanks
so much for
having
having
us.
us.
Oh,
And good
it's-
luck tomorrow night and Sunday.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All the best.
We'll
Have a
see you
good
Say
one.
knock 'em dead, as they always say, right?
Absolutely. Or at least it's dead with laughter, probably
Of
for a
course,
lecture.
yeah, no.
Right.
Thanks, Dan. Have a
Thank
good
you
one.
guys.
Thanks.
And then a couple other people watching the show this morning, just a couple of shout-outs. Otto Turkish Seville is watching the show this morning. Claudia Troy watching the show. Jasmine Alatron watching the show. Oldra Morse from Puerto Rico watching the show. Ray Morris tuning into the show this morning. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in and joining us. And we are excited to go right to our next segment, which is our good friend Matthias for our
Yes.
monthly meetup with Matthias Yohn Realty. Matthias, how you doing this morning?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me again.
You got the pleasure of learning
absolutely.
and seeing the
Yes,
other guests
yes.
come on
That was,
first.
Impressive young singers, definitely.
I thought it's a quiet time. Everyone talks about the summer slump, but here we are with a full program today. Very interesting guests. And yeah,
Yeah, totally. We try to combat as best we can the summer slump, which I know can sometimes be experienced out there. I think it's just a given, right, in real estate that there's always going to be kind of that summer slump because just people trying to just disappear and go on vacation and so forth.
yeah. Historically speaking, we have those two strong seasons: the fall and of course the spring market, right? And typically around Christmas, it's getting slower, and then of course the summer slump.
Yeah.
People assume that everyone is on vacation, and I'm sure many people are. But
Well, the
it
university's
always-
on vacation, that's what it is. All the students are gone, so traffic
That's
is a little
right.
better.
And you know, when right now it's as you said, it's a slower season. You know, market factors, but also people are on vacation, and so a lot of people think that's the reason why we sell less homes right now. But I always think to myself, only so many people can be on vacation at the same time. Sure, school is out. You know, students are not here right now. But I see a lot of roads on the car. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be sometimes I wonder if it's also a timing thing, because I know one of the reasons spring I've heard is so big is because families start to look because they want to move in the summer before kids
go to
start
school.
school. And I mean, I'm thinking maybe the reverse kind of is true. By the time you get to mid to late July, families might be saying, do I want to move now? Because, but do I want to look now? Because if I move in August, I gotta get kids signed up and everything in 2 weeks for school. It just tightens their time frame.
Right, you don't want too many changes in your life happen simultaneously,
time.
right? So you want to time this right. And depending on your situation, whether you're a family with school kids, obviously that plays a role when you look for a home. And historically speaking, that's true. Things are a little bit off and different coming out of the pandemic. You know, the historic seasonality of things didn't really align with what was happening, at least 2022, 2023. But yeah, the market has cooled down. I can see that. And if you look at the sold homes in our area, whether it's Charlottesville, Albemarle County, or surrounding counties, the numbers do show less activity year over year. But at the same time, home values go up, right? So we always have that paradoxon happening in our area, unfortunately.
It's fascinating. Do you have to, I mean, in that vein, have you seen, because obviously this is not the first time we've had you on to talk and known that, okay, home values are going up. We've talked about interest rates several times, right? Have you at all, at least as you talk or advise clients and potential clients, have you seen any change in mentality in terms of a shift from, okay, how long do I have to wait this out, to, okay, what do I do now given this situation, because it might not be changing anytime soon?
Well, the first thing I always say is I can't advise on financial things because I'm not a financial advisor, right? But we can talk about what we observe, and people watch CNN on Bloomberg and then take those headlines and then they call me and ask, is it a good time right now? And I think the answer always has to be personalized because it depends on so many factors. Whether to buy a home right now, whether to sell a home right now, is that a good idea or not? And especially working with buyers, and you're not the first to raise this. We hear it all the time. And again, it depends on your situation. What are the pros and cons of waiting to buy a home or to pull the trigger right now? Should we wait for lower interest rates? There are indicators that make us believe that the rates will slowly go down. At the same time, how much control do we individually have over Federal Reserve policies, right? And does it mean that if I get a lower rate in 2025, could that also mean that the price of the same property is higher? So what's the best answer here, right? And also look at buying power. If rates go down, that might actually mean that I am more competitive with my finances. You know, my buying power is higher because all of a sudden I can have access to higher priced homes because my overall monthly financial commitment is down. So there are a lot of considerations. And I know everyone is tired of this generic answer. It depends, but it really does.
And now more so than ever, I think.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, we see that all the time too, where people, the same thing, they'll come to us, is this a time to go into the market, right? And it's like, you know, again, it has to be personalized, and you realize nobody has a crystal ball to say, next year the market's going to go up or down, right? I mean, if you miss an up market the next year, you're sitting there going, now do I get in next year? And it's the same thing with the house market. But this, and in the house market, again, it may be wrong, but I would say it's even more personalized because this becomes your home, right? This is where you're going to live. So to make a decision, I think you're absolutely right. It is truly personalized. Are you ready? Are you ready to go into a house that it will become your home? And this is what you want over the next, you know, whatever, 10, 20, 30 years, right? And whatever the market is, you know, whatever the price is, whatever interest rates are, if you can afford it and that's what you like, then it's probably the time to do it, right? Because if you, like you said, if you wait for the next year, it's like, boy, that house that we saw last year, that's the one we really liked. Now we can't find one, or, you know, now they're a little more expensive, rates are down, but there's more. So you sit there and you go, it truly has to be, you know, what does that person need, and is it time for them, you know?
Right, and your answer shows me, again, that not only in my industry, it makes sense to sit down with a client or someone who is wanting to become your client and look at what the circumstances are, you know, personalize it. That's so great listening here to all the small businesses. They do exactly the same thing. It's not an online search and then you get a generic standardized answer. No, it's specific to the individual's needs and situation.
And I think especially what people, especially in the more challenging the environment, that's when it becomes even more, because I think sometimes there's a tendency when the environment is challenging, right, to try to save money. In other words, okay, let me try to do this myself because things are tight and it may cost me to seek out advice, right? And I think you see that mentality creep in, but in reality, it's when times are difficult, when there are challenges, when, in other words, when you're in a hard insurance market, you need someone like Miguel Moore. When you're in a challenging interest rate and price environment, you need to talk to someone like Matthias Moore.
Exactly.
And we see, and I know in finance they say the same thing, right? No one ever wants a financial advisor, or really needs one if the market's just going up every day. It's when things go south that you're like, oh man, I wish I had talked to someone before things were becoming challenging. So I think it just goes, especially I think in this environment where people might be tempted to say, oh, like, let me try to do this myself, because, maybe I've been watching the news and like, I don't have to pay a realtor anymore. I don't have to do that. Right? But it's when things are tough that you need someone even to just bounce ideas. So I would say, how often is it just a matter of you sitting down with a prospective client and kind of bouncing ideas off each other that they need to hear another voice give them some ideas that maybe they didn't think of?
Absolutely, I agree. And what I also just find interesting, this is all human psychology, right? We want to control things, but there are certain things that we just simply don't have any influence over. A lot of people are concerned about the outcome of the elections, right? In which direction it will go. We have no control over that, well, except the one vote that we have. But what we have control over are, data about our market, about our area. And so we can look at facts and numbers and maybe advise based on that. That's in our little microcosmos is what we can do. And that plays a huge role, whether you're looking or working with a financial advisor or with a realtor interested in buying a home here.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, in the end, being able to touch base with a professional that does this day in and day out, has the experience, I think it's a calming there when you go talk to them and say, okay, here's what I'm trying to do, and I'm a little confused as to, am I ready, am I not ready, what am I looking for, what's available? And then all of a sudden that real estate person comes and reviews everything and says, listen, this is, given what you've provided me, given what your goals are, what your expectations are, here's what's available, here's what we recommend. Let's take a look at a few of them and then get a feel for it. And that's when I think people then come in and say, okay, now, and then they begin to hone, because sometimes it's like, they want everything. And it's like, I didn't like that, or, oh, that's got, I didn't like the fence on that house, right? Things of that sort. So now as a realtor say, okay, well, now I know the kind of fence they like and don't like, so I'm not going to show them this house. So you begin to hone in on to what that person really wants, because at first it's like you get the feeling they want everything. Either they want something very specific or everything. And again, it's honing in us to, what are they really looking for? What can they afford?
Priorities?
Exactly. And what are the priorities? Maybe it's a school district. I mean, I really want a good school district, or, I want a big backyard, or I don't want a backyard, but I want it close to the city. Little things like that are so important, to have somebody that can really go through with them and explain, where you are, where you're moving to, what are the the areas, the pros and cons of different areas. It's so important. You can't have that. You have that experience.
You can't know all that as an individual.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where you come in.
And in this context, I want to just praise you guys and express how thankful I am that we have a show like yours in our community that showcases, very small firms that can cater to different demographics too. As I was sitting here half an hour ago listening to Miguel and Carolina talk in Spanish about their business, it just shows how important it is, because we have a high Hispanic population, and not everyone speaks English, or if they do, maybe not to the extent that they can read a contract, understand an insurance, and it's just fantastic to know. You can refer someone to those two, for example. They know the area, they speak all those languages. I'm fortunate enough to speak Spanish too. I have Hispanic clients.
You spent some time.
And they are thankful sometimes that I can actually sit down and talk about that contract that they might not understand, right? And on the show, we have seen Spanish-speaking loan officers, bankers, insurance people, among many other things. And so thank you guys for really trying to dive
This
into
is,
the small businesses of our area that otherwise people might not know about.
That's kind of why we're
that's why we
here.
started, and it's a pleasure. It really is. I mean, you know, Alex and I talk about it all the time. You know, when we first started, and little by little we realize it's just amazing how many different types of businesses and people with different talents that there are out there. It's like sometimes people come in and they talk about what they know, and I'm sitting there going, I didn't even know it existed, much less how much they know, right? So it's just, you know, it's been a blessing. I mean, I've learned so much and got to meet so many people. It's been, and I love, like I mentioned, Zoom's not my thing, but being in front of people I love, so it's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I mean, one of those is... Oh, go ahead.
Interesting anecdote. I always joke that, you know, I'm from Germany, as you know, that it would be great to, you know, find this niche and just have German clients all the time. I was joking, there are no Germans here. Something interesting, you know, the Euro 2024 is happening right now, the Europe Cup for soccer. And I'm part of this German-American friendship or German-American association here in Charlottesville. And we organized like a little public viewing for everyone interested. So we went to locations in Charlottesville that show the matches on big screens. You wouldn't believe how many Germans all of a sudden show up. But I had no idea we're here. And it's great. I mean, I don't speak German too often with my family, of course. And it's always embarrassing because I realize I'm lacking the vocabulary the longer I live here. And I spoke quite a bit of German leading up to last week. And fortunately, they kicked us out of the championship. But I connected with a lot of German people. I had no idea. So anyway, it's an interesting city.
Do you call it a Stammtisch?
Yeah, we call it
my mother-in-law,
the German Stammtisch.
Monica, has one in Montana. She calls it a Stammtisch when they get together and talk in German and eat good food and get together.
And the Stammtisch has been around for many, many years before I moved here, of course. And I joined them, and once a month we would meet, and it's usually a small group, maybe 10 or 12 of us, usually the same faces. And so it was just interesting to see close to 100.
Wow.
Whoa.
So yeah, they're all here.
They're here.
A lot of them work at UVA, Martha Jefferson, and so on. But anyway.
That's awesome. That's
awesome.
Really and one of those who you mentioned small businesses, Otto Turkish is watching the show. He says Matthias is great to work with. We highly recommend him.
Ali, thank you, Ali, for the kind words.
In and appreciating you, which we can certainly agree with. Which have you been? I mean, in the summer, have you been in? What are some things you've been enjoying on that positive vein to take? You know, I mean, because obviously, you know, we're trying to counteract the summer sleep. Right, but what have you been enjoying this summer?
You know, I enjoy that moment when I open the door to my house and I feel coolness. It's hot right now. So I enjoy the morning hours and the evening hours outside. This morning, before coming into this place, I walked on the downtown mall and I was observing the street vendors building up their little, little shops.
Right.
And people drinking coffee outside. And it was the perfect climate and temperature to do that. I really enjoy that. But of course, at 2 or 3 p.m., it's a different story on the downtown mall or just wherever we are right now. I think we're all struggling a little bit with the lack of rain.
Yes.
I mean, I complain about it, but imagine being a farmer and not having the rain right now. I don't think the heat is as surprising as the lack of the dryness. Really.
Yes.
It's been I mean it hasn't been as humid. It's been a drier heat because I know I get up in the morning and typically I get up in the morning, I go out into the backyard to go look at my garden, and it's like the grass is just soaked. I mean, it's just full of dew. Lately I go out there, it's like it's not even wet, it's so dry, But no rain. That's for a farmer. That's tough. You know,
We could
for a
use
little
some
farmer,
rain.
it's easy. I just water the
Yeah.
water my
But
little
yeah,
bed.
you're
But if I had
a big
farmers,
farm.
like I can't go out there with my hose.
How's your
Absolutely.
garden looking? I think your wife is growing a lot of produce.
Yeah, well, so
Right, on
we,
your
we,
property?
we grow enough so that we can feed, Alex and his wife.
Oh, your children,
Nicholas
right?
and his wife, and then ourselves.
Free
Just
supermarket.
perfect. But, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's like the tomatoes this year, there's no, by now, usually there's mold already and rot, and, the leaves are turning and stuff like that because we get so much mildew. That's one good thing about this year. No mold, no mildew anywhere, but they're just struggling to grow because it's just not getting enough water. And Michael and I there are out almost every morning watering because I go out there, it's like dry.
Yeah.
And if I don't water one day, by the end of the day, my wife's taking pictures. Look at your plants, and they're like this. And like, oh gosh. So
Yeah, it's rough out there. It's rough out there. So, but I mean, you're right. I mean, the nice thing is in the early morning, in the evening, I think because of the dryness, you can enjoy it a little bit.
Yes,
You're able
absolutely.
to walk outside, go
Absolutely,
down
yeah.
the downtown mall, go for a walk in the neighborhood. You're able to do that because it's not as humid.
yeah. And it's funny. Adam said when he talked about Charlottesville, he said it's a beautiful because it's a city,
But it's a small town.
But it's a small town, and you
Yeah.
have all the surrounding beauty. And and think about it. I mean, how many cities like this have an opera, Music Man, the symphony, a downtown mall, restaurants, right? How many cities have that? And then within like 5-10 minutes,
Mountains.
you're in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty amazing,
And in 4 hours, you can be at the beach,
And for us, you get to be
Yep.
that's right.
right?
Yep, that's a big
Yeah.
one. That's a big one. Absolutely. Well, this has been it's wonderful. I apologize for for Germany. I told my wife don't be mad at me. I told my wife because I typically root Spain or Italy. So I told her, look, if Germany beats Spain, I will root for them the rest of the way. So then, but then when Spain won, I texted my wife. I said, sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, but how did they win?
At the-
We were not giving the penalty we
at
deserved.
the end. Oh, no, that's debatable.
Oh, and it is a very huge debate, right?
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely, absolutely. It always is, right? Those things are
Always,
always
yeah.
so close. Like anything to change it.
Yeah.
Anything to change it. But there's always next time.
That was probably, I mean,
That was one
out
of
of
the better
all the
games.
games that, and I haven't seen too many of them, right? But that game was like from the beginning to the end.
Yeah,
That
tense.
game was tense, good.
Yeah.
Both sides attacking. That was a fun soccer game because sometimes it's like, you watch a soccer game and there's like 4 shots on goal. It's like, oh man, it's just like there's nothing going on. But that
They
was an
didn't park the
exciting
bus. They
No.
both were playing well.
Yeah, going into the competition, we were not too optimistic about our team. A lot of young players, a coach that just recently started, and so we were not sure. And then we performed much better than we thought. So it was a lot of fun leading up to it. And yeah, even though we are out, coming Sunday, the final will be fantastic to watch.
Rematch
yeah.
of the Spanish
And-
Armada.
Oh.
Yeah, and even though it's not the number one sport in the U.S., Charlottesville, there are a lot of people watching it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of places, breweries, restaurants where people come together and watch it. And so that's what I will be doing this Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, definitely. If you like soccer, I think that's why a lot of people gravitate here. It has a good soccer community with
it does.
like Soca and then all the kids sports and stuff like that. So it's good also for people who want that
And
for
UVA
their kids.
typically
and
has a
UVA.
pretty good soccer team. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We churn out a lot of good players.
And I think Charlottesville now has a soccer team as
Oh.
well. I think the Seville Blues is the name of
okay.
it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, just
There you
formed
go.
earlier this year, if I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
more to do. More to
So-
do and see.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. Well, Matthias, it's
As always,
amazing how
always great to
25
be here.
minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
the
no,
25
it's
minutes always goes by. It's so fast. But thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely,
Look
yeah.
forward to our next one. It's going to be we'll be in the dog days of
See
August.
you next month. Yeah.
For the next one, but it'll be even hotter probably. But it's been wonderful. Really appreciate it as always. And it's still getting props. People watching Trisha Tavalacci watching the show this morning.
Oh, hi, Trish.
Yep,
Yeah, she's up in New York State.
Oh, just watching from New York State. And thanks for
Think
tuning
it's-
in.
It's cooler weather up there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then John Dorton watching the show this morning. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and joining us. It's been a great show. Thank you, Xavier.
Oh, thank you. It's always fun.
You know,
Always fun being
always good. Always great to have Judah behind the camera, making us look good. We may see you, I think, in a couple weeks.
here. Correct.
Or actually, a few weeks. We got in a little.
So for 2 weeks, yeah. I think
yeah,
we're,
we're going to be a little break.
yeah.
Different people on vacation.
But yeah, the first week of August, Michael and I will be hosting.
You'll be back.
That's right.
So we can look forward to that. So my hasta mañana will be like hasta unas semanas.
a few mañanas.
Hasta a few mañanas. But look forward to seeing everyone then. Of course, thank you to Emergent Financial Services for presenting. Thanks to our wonderful partners, Matias Sion Realty, Credit Serious Insurance, Charlottesville Opera, Forward Adelante. Thank you all for tuning in, for all the great comments and questions we had today. I really appreciate everyone who joined us. Ostan Mandirali, thanks so much for tuning in as well. Dr. Elizabeth Irby, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't want to leave out anybody who gave us likes and comments. So we appreciate
Especially that
all of
doctor.
that. Especially that doctor. Especially that doctor. That's an important doctor in my life. So appreciate everyone who tuned in. We look forward to seeing you all in a few weeks. But until that time, as we like to close it out on the show, hasta mañana.